Hey guys, welcome back to another episode, and today we're talking about how I take a look at pre-supported files and how I modify them a little bit before we take them to the printer. In most cases, pre-supported files I don't actually like to use too much unless it's a company that I trust. These files are from Crippled God Foundry, and there's some files that we recently got this month for the new campaign, The Rotting One. This is actually The Rotting One, along with the base forum. Now, as you'll see, this is very adequately supported. These guys do a great job. The supporting work is usually pretty top-notch. I'll only go in and check it for some minor things like contact points, just to make sure it's making a solid contact at the very bottom. And even on occasion, I will modify it a little bit to my own liking, just to make myself feel more comfortable that it's going to survive a print. Only because I'm more familiar with the way that my particular printers like to have things done. And yes, they are that finicky sometimes. I swear, they have a mind of their own. Now really what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll check around the supports. And I'll look at each individual bar diameter, tip diameter, length, and kind of analyze how it's being supported. I like to take a look at these files pretty closely because it not only teaches me quite a lot about how these guys do their supporting, but it's interesting to see how other people do their supporting for miniatures versus how I might handle this support myself. It's very well organized, it's very tidy, it's very neat, and it works about 99.9% of the time. Now, like I said, I will make some adjustments. Usually what it'll be, it's just going to be island adjustments. These are Lychee Slicer files that they give us for these particular pre-supports, so we're able to go in and make modifications. But in most cases, when you load them up, you're going to find that the islands have not actually been handled, and they leave that up to you. Which is good because, Lychee doesn't really like any other type of pre-supported file other than a file that it was actually natively created for it. So this is really the best option they can give you, and they work pretty well. I would say I have about a 99.9% success rate. I have had some failures with some of the pre-supported files, but with a little modification, as you can see I'm doing here to this base. And that looks heavy, but those are actually lights that I've added in there. So those are some of my lights, and that's not going to really affect it too much. But that's going to help it survive. In some cases, I've actually just left it alone and it works, and then in other cases the supporting is a little weak and you get either sagging or you get peaks, and either way the bottom of the base gets a little warped and it's ruined. It's not really a destroyed or failed print, but it's not really, I mean, you're gonna have to spend like a good 45 minutes sanding the bottom of that flat, so just make less work for yourself. Work smarter, not harder. Yeah, the islands on some of these miniatures can be really, really tricky to find. So using the Lychee system to kind of show you around does help, but then it still kind of makes you kind of find out where the heck it's pointing at. It's not really that direct. So you still have to kind of hunt for them. It's okay though, it is better than just kind of hunting around for the little points on your own. But that just gets annoying. Nobody likes doing that. I don't think anyone likes doing supporting in general. This isn't actually a fun activity. I think some people do actually... Actually, I take that back. Maybe there are some folks that do enjoy it. And if you do, I forgive you if I've insulted you in any way. I don't enjoy this stuff. I'm pretty good at it. My files turn out really well. And the supporting I do by hand is very easy to remove. So I'm adequate at it. But I don't really enjoy it. Still not something I go, ooh, can't wait to put a bunch of supports on some models today. But it's a necessary thing. And once you get good at it, you really kind of learn to get faster, and you get a little bit more resourceful with how you place your supports, where you're placing them, the types of support tips, the different types of variations, learning to vary between medium, lights, and hards on one particular model rather than just using one blanket size across the entire piece. There are benefits to doing it differently. There are benefits to using bracings. There are benefits to using different style rafts. All of these things have an effect on peel force. They have an effect on the way the print dynamic works against the build plate. So yeah, I mean, overall, pre-supported files, you should be able to just throw them on your build plate and print. I mean, and that is essentially what they would all want you to believe. Yeah, sure. And most of the time, I would say that that's probably 99.9% true. As long as you're using a printer that is, set up with settings that are working, and it's not a finicky printer that maybe has a large bed and maybe tiny supports like little sticks and twigs just kind of snap off like little hairs. So it doesn't always work. I have had occasions where even bigger companies, like I've had files from companies like Titan Forge, the printing goes ever on. A couple other guys from my mini factory that we've bought files from, the pre-supports don't work on a few of my larger bed printers, and I'll go in, I'll make a little modifications, I'll add one or two heavy anchors to keep the mini in place, and all of a sudden the whole system seems to work. So I don't think it's a matter of pre-supporting is not working. I believe it's more of a matter of pre-supporting is kind of a concept that needs to be adjusted a little bit, where a pre-support is mostly done. If you know your printer well enough that you know how to modify a support system, and you can say, you know what, I know my large deck printer is going to have a problem with this style of supporting. It's going to pull the mini free. My vat is just larger. There's just more peel force happening in the center of the vat where this thing's going to be pulling. The balance is going to be off, and boom, if you know that, then you can make that adjustment. If you don't, then you're still kind of in the unknown, and that's why you have to kind of run the file, test it. Okay, did it fail? Did it pancake? Did anything fail? Let's and then you go back and you kind of run more tests to see where you need to be in order to get to a perfect print. And you don't have to do those at the highest resolution. You can actually technically do those at a lower resolution if you wanted to make the print a little faster. But I mean, honestly, these prints don't take too long, so running a prototype takes a couple of hours. You pop that out, you go, okay, this is what went wrong, clean out the vat, pop another one on, and you eventually will work out your issue. So again, it's a lot of kind of testing and retesting and testing, but that is essentially the 3D print world. So for anybody that's in this environment, they definitely know what I'm talking about. That's completely accurate. But other than that, there's not really much you should need to do with a pre-support file. If it's pre-supported well, and the company who's doing the supporting knows what they're doing, you should have a good file that you're going to be able to take away, that's going to work really well, and should print. So, I mean, should be no worries. And again, if you're working with Crippled God Foundry, we have not had any failures with their pre-supported files on any of our small deck printers. On our larger ones, we do make some modifications where we know we need to. And that's not to say that we've had failures, because we don't run them as is. We always modify them a little bit. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked what you watched, give us a sub, like, comment. As always, ring the bell if you want notifications about all the videos that we post. And I really look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks so much for watching.